Dana White and the UFC just announced some crazy news out of nowhere. I checked my phone and some people were talking about, I was like, Dana White announcement. Searched up online, YouTube. There's a big giant stream where the UFC, a live stream where Dana was saying all the new stuff that we just got announced. So I had to write everything down so I get the dates right. But for right now, we have UFC 288. We have our new co-main event. I believe it was supposed to be Charles Oliveira versus Beneil Dariush. That one got moved to 289. They confirmed that. But for UFC 288, we have a new co-main event. We have Gilbert Burns versus Belal Muhammad for 5 rounds, which is a pretty fun fight, especially for 5 rounds. I'm super interested in it. I think Gilbert Burns does win this matchup, but again, super big fight. It needed a co-main event, or at least a half decent, interesting co-main event. Gilbert Burns has been super active. It's been four months. He fought on UFC 283, just fought on UFC 287, and is now fighting on UFC 288. So he's definitely working for it. He's working for that number one contender spot. Maybe he's trying to get an argument out there to where he can cut Colby in line for that title shot. I don't know if the UFC will do it, but we'll see how that kind of works here. I do have Gilbert Burns. I think he's going to be better on the feet. He's going to have more power. Defensively, even if he gets taken down by Belal Muhammad and Belal Muhammad just kind of stays in his lap and doesn't move anything, he still has the jiu-jitsu to put Belal Muhammad in a lot of trouble on the ground. So I'm going to go with Gilbert Burns here, maybe by finish by KO early on in the fight, like first or second round. I can just see him come out there and just start running, like moving at him, just pressuring him and just forcing Belal Muhammad to kind of like panic and do something here. And Belal Muhammad saying that he's not ready for this fight, whatever. I don't know what kind of fight shape he's in, but we know what Gilbert Burns' fight shape is kind of in this fight. He didn't really take much damage against Magny. He didn't really take too much damage against Jorge Masvidal at all. So he's a fresh fighter with a lot of fights been going on. He's probably getting paid quite a bit, especially for 5 rounds in a co-main event. So go for Gilbert Burns here. But I'm probably going to do early prediction and breakdowns for a lot of these fights that they just announced. So thank God Dana announced these things because I was running out of videos to make. But very good matchup for Gilbert Burns here. I will do a little bit more in depth of a prediction maybe tomorrow or something for this matchup. But moving on to the next fight that was announced, we have a Marvin Vettori versus Jared Cannonier for the June 17th fight night card. I believe it is in the Apex. Very interesting matchup. A lot of these middleweight fights actually just got made. There's another one here that's a little questionable, I guess. I was gonna actually pull up something here. I will do it as I'm filming this video, but this is a very interesting fight. We have Marvin Vettori coming off of that Roman Dolidze win, and then we have Jared Cannonier, I believe, coming off of that Sean Strickland win. Even though I did think that Sean Strickland did beat Jared Cannonier in that matchup, it was still a pretty close fight there. I'm gonna go with probably Jared Cannonier here. I know he's a little bit more powerful. Maybe Marvin Vettori mixes in a little bit more, but maybe damage-wise, you'll get more out of Jared Cannonier. I don't know. This is kind of one of those matchups where it's very interesting. It could kind of go either way. I can see it going, but the UFC might just... Are they just trying to get Marvin Vettori's chin cracked or something? They're just giving him a bunch of power punchers or something. He just beat Roman Dolidze, who's a pretty solid power puncher himself. Very, very explosive dude. But Jared Cannonier again coming off of the win against Sean Strickland. I don't know who wins this one. I think I'm going to edge it to Jared Cannonier in this matchup, but yeah, that's what I'm going to edge it to Jared Cannonier. I probably need to do a little bit more research on this one specifically, but I'm probably going to edge it to Jared Cannonier. I'm just landing the better punches in the fight. I think Marvin Vettori, even though he has a really good chin, I think the damage will probably show. Damage has been showing a lot more. I think Whitaker had him in a lot of trouble in their fight. Whitaker was cracking with a lot of those kicks. Roman Dolidze, I think, kind of rocked him a little bit. But obviously, that chin's still one of the best in the UFC, without a doubt. But I am going to go with Jared Cannonier for this one. But Marvin Vettori definitely has a very good shot at winning this one, especially if Sean Strickland beat Jared Cannonier. I like Sean Strickland, but he's not like I wouldn't say he's like the greatest talent in the middleweight division, but I do really like Sean Strickland. And speaking of Sean Strickland, another fight night main event that was announced. We have Sean Strickland versus Abus Magomedov for UFC Fight Night July 1st. I believe, yeah, UFC Fight Night July 1st. I believe that is before International Fight Week. So I don't know why this match was being made. I guess Sean Strickland was basically just saying, give me anybody. I don't even think Abus Magomedov is ranked. His last fight was a win over Dustin Stoltzfus in the UFC. He basically just starched him in 19 seconds, put like a toe in his mouth or something. But it's just a very interesting match being made. He's 32 years old, so he's kind of getting there in his prime, so maybe they're trying to rush him a little bit. But I believe Sean Strickland's, what, number 7? Or something like that. And this is an unranked guy. So it's a very interesting matchup that was made. I don't really know. Some of the losses that he has had on his record. Lewis Taylor in the PFL. Let's see, Mikel Parlo. I don't even know what. Yeah, so he doesn't have many losses. Most of his losses go back all the way till 2016. His only recent loss was against Lewis Taylor in 2018. So looked really good against Dustin Stoltzfus. Won that matchup. He was supposed to fight GM3 on February 18th. Was supposed to fight Muhammad Muradov on March 11th. But now we have Sean Strickland versus Magomedov in a 5-round fight. Very interesting matchup here. We know Sean Strickland has really good defensive wrestling, good offensive wrestling. Kind of just let his hands go against Nasruddin Imavov. I thought Imavov was going to win that fight. I believe Strickland came on very short notice and still won it. Had decent cardio in that matchup. It was up a weight class too. I don't know. This is a very interesting matchup. I feel like we haven't seen enough from Magomedov in the UFC to kind of be like super comfortable picking him here, but he's very good on the feet. I believe he has some decent wrestling from when I did that research on him for that Dustin Stoltzfus fight. But this is a very interesting matchup. I don't know who to edge here. I might go Strickland, but he is a wild puncher on the feet, and I think Magomedov's a little bit more controlled. He's not as wild because Strickland was kind of just throwing hands. Like he said he thought he fought like a pansy, I guess I can say, against Cannonier in that last fight. So he's like, okay, I'm just going to swing my hands. And obviously it's not going to be the most technically sound punches as it looked like against Nasruddin Imavov. But he did win the fight. Did look really good in that matchup against Nasruddin Imavov, a pretty good prospect in the UFC middleweight division. So yeah, this is a very interesting matchup. I don't know who to edge here. I think I want to say Abus, but I'm not sure I'm even comfortable picking him. I feel like this is just a big question mark at this point. Maybe I need to go look back at all of his PFL fights or his recent PFL fights and kind of get an idea there. But this is a really, really big step up in competition for Abus. The defensive wrestling is good from Sean Strickland, so there's probably not going to be a worry there. So we'll see what happens here. Very interesting main event here. That's the UFC news for today. I don't really have much for this fight. Tell me what you guys think about these fights. We have Gilbert Burns versus Belal Muhammad, 5 rounds for UFC 288. We had Charles Oliveira, Beneil Dariush confirmed for UFC 289. Marvin Vettori versus Jerry Cannonier for June 17th main event. And Sean Strickland versus Abus Magomedov for the July 1st main event. Tell me if you guys think we'll win those matchups. Again, this matchup is basically, I don't even know what to think about this one. I don't know who to choose, but I will get a good read on both of these guys. Not both of these guys. More on Abus Magomedov, because I wasn't thinking he's going to get a fight night main event against a guy like Sean Strickland this early. So we'll see what happens here. I'll do a little bit more in-depth research for the Abus Magomedov for Abus Magomedov for this matchup. But yeah, tell me who you guys think will win in these matches below, and I'll see you guys next time.